Hi guys. I don't like the lighting in here. There you go. Hi guys, Dave Finch in here. Um, Moving to the Philippines. So today I want to talk about health insurance. Just a sec. Okay, today I want to talk about health insurance in the Philippines. As being an expat, somebody from another country. Let me tell you my story, and then may or may not be relevant with you, right? So when I moved to the Philippines, I thought because I spent 4 years in the military in the Air Force, so I have and it's a Vietnam era, so I have a little bit of that. I have a little bit of VA, not a lot, but a little bit of coverage. I have the Medicare, the free part. I don't pay for the other because I don't live in the U.S. So that's all I have. So when I moved over here, I looked into getting the expat kind of insurance that you can get mostly from European companies. They offer insurance, health insurance. But here's what I found out. Because I have pre-existing conditions, the cost was really high. 500, 600, $700 a month, something like that. It was really high. It was too expensive. I couldn't afford it. So here's what I found out. The cost of most, even heart surgery here, compared to the US, the cost of most medical procedures here is so much cheaper than the US. So if you have a regular insurance style in the U.S., like health insurance, that you have to pay like 20% or something after your deductible, it's about the same. It's almost the same cost without insurance over here, right? So that was my first decision after I looked into getting this different kind of health insurance, right? And so I decided not to have any health insurance. I decided, well, I'll just pay for things as I go. And it works fine for dentists. It works fine for my eye doctor. It works fine for everything, really, until I needed surgeries. And then it was not so fine. So I had a couple issues happen. And some people would say, well, I don't trust the doctors in the Philippines. I would never go to a doctor. I would never go to a hospital. I've been to two hospitals. And I've been to more than two hospitals. I've been to two surgeries in the Philippines, and everything was fine. The doctors are fine. They learn the same. They're not witch doctors or anything. They have the same medical treatment. They have more nurses come from the Philippines than any other country all over the world. If you ever noticed in America, I don't know about Europe, but you'll see a lot of Filipino nurses, right? There's a reason for that, right? And the medical stuff is fine. They have a lot of the same technology that they have in the U.S. Now, maybe not. For example, when you're waiting on test results, it's going to take a lot longer in the Philippines. Right? We'll get into that in just a minute. Let me see if I can finish my story, and then I'll tell you what I've learned. So the first thing that happened was, hang on a second. So one day I woke up and my prostate was clogged up. I could not pee. It was a horrible situation. A horrible situation. So we had to go to the emergency here in Gold City. And anyway, I don't want to get into the details. It's kind of disgusting, but essentially I needed a surgery. Now the guys there, they tried to convince me that the whole hospital, everybody there is the seventh day, so they believe, and not necessarily wrong, that if you eat certain diets, it's going to make it better. So he goes, well, if you eat a certain diet, your prostate will be better. Well, how long is that going to take? Well, maybe 8 months, maybe 10 months. Okay, brother, I'm not going to wear a catheter for 8 or 10 months. Well, I know a guy that did it, so fine. That's great. This guy was from Sweden or Denmark or somewhere. He did it. Wore a catheter and changed his diet. Now he's perfect. I go, that's great. I'm going to get this done. I'm not wearing it anyways. So I wound up getting the surgery. We actually, what we did is we searched out the best urologist in the whole island, and there's a guy over here in Butuan, is one of the best, and he has all the high technology. He has the laser surgery thing, and we did it, and everything was fine. I had to pay for it out of pocket. Um, it was about $5,000, $4,000, something like that, all together. In the U.S., that same operation is going to be a lot more than that. So we paid it. We put it on credit card, and we paid it, and there we go. Moving on down the road. Now that was not a fun situation, just so you know. I don't know. I was just going to talk about health insurance, but medical in the Philippines. They don't have nurse. I mean, unless you can afford maybe some kind of fancy private hospital, and maybe there's one in the city 3 hours from now, and maybe there's one in Manila, but there's not a lot of those. Um, Most of even the good hospital, like the doctor's hospital I was in, and that this guy had his own clinic. The nurses, they come in and give you medication. They check your vitals. That's all they do. But they don't take care of you. They don't have CNAs there where I was. They don't have people that take care of you, make sure you're okay. You know, toileting and all that. If you need it, they don't have that. You have to. Who does that? Your family members. Actually, it's very common in the Philippines where your wife or your husband or family member stay in the room with you. They actually have a place where they can sleep. Right. So that's what happens when you go to the hospital here. Nevertheless, my wife was a great nurse. I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but it worked very well. I'm very excited, very happy that I had that surgery done. It worked very well, and I'm very happy about it. But it was $5,000, so there we go. I wasn't counting on that. That wasn't what I counted on, right? But if I paid $600 a month, right, how long is it going to take me to recoup my money off of the medical insurance? That would have only covered a percentage of it anyway. So I still would have had a bill. And then the next thing that happened was I got this lump on my neck. I got this lump on my neck and it wouldn't go away. So we had a couple of testing done, and then finally they talked me into, you're going to get a surgery. So I got a surgery. The surgery was also about $5,000. They had a fly guy in from Manila who was the best in the country, and the surgery was awesome. Everything went well. It was better than expected. Almost a miracle that he didn't cut the nerves, and everything's fine now, and it wasn't cancer, and everything's fine. But now, meanwhile, I'm $10,000. I'm like 9,000, so almost $10,000 in debt, right? All right, so that's a lot of medical expenses, unexpected, right? So that's probably the worst case scenario. What I went through is the worst case scenario. You probably won't go through that. Most people don't go through that, right? But when I compare that cost to the U.S., if I had regular insurance and I didn't have exorbitant expensive insurance over there, I probably would have paid a 20% of whatever the hospital bill was, or whatever. I probably would have paid close to the same. However, there is another option besides the international insurance and besides not having any insurance, and that is having Philippine insurance. But in order to do that, and which I found out later, you have to have your ACR card, your Alien Certificate of Registration, which I have one of those now. I didn't have one back then. So if you have an ACR card and you go and fill out the form, you go to Phil Health. It's like it's like a national health insurance company, right? As married to a Filipina, I can get the Phil Health insurance for, I think it's like 11,000 pesos. That doesn't mean anything to you. Over like 200 and so, just a little over $200 a year. I can get the insurance, covers 60% of your medical bills. On top of that, I can also sign up for their Social Security, and it's weird. And then they give you additional stipend at the end of that, and when you show them your bill. Because I'm married to a Filipino, you have to have that alien certificate of registration card. It's very vital to anyone living here. You don't have to have it like what I was doing before, but if you want to do anything here, bank account, obviously health insurance, you have to get your alien certificate of registration card. Once you get that card, that's your ticket. That's your ticket to banking. That's your ticket to health insurance, everything. So health insurance in Philippines, PhilHealth is one. There's also private companies that are a lot cheaper. Like, I think the one was like, I want to say it's like $500 a year or something. Would have covered everything, right? So you can get Philippine health insurance with the ACR card. That's the best way to do it, guys. Um, the reason my insurance was so high was because I had previous conditions, and apparently Europe cares about that. That's a one good thing. Probably the only good thing I say about Obamacare is the pre-existing conditions don't affect your health insurance, but once you leave the country, it does. Oh, one more thing, and then I'll close about the health insurance. If you're an American citizen, they passed Obamacare, right? And so everybody has to have health insurance, or else you have to pay a fine. My wife is a U.S. citizen also, so that's two of us that have to have health insurance. Well, I have Medicare, the free part, plus I have my VA, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm covered. She doesn't have any insurance in the U.S. because we don't live there. But what I found out is because you don't live in the U.S., you're no longer required to carry that insurance. Like, she's not longer required to carry it. So that's it, guys. Health insurance in the Philippines. Oops. Hopefully you won't. I'll never do that again. That's what I'm thinking. I've already got all the bad stuff out of the way. We're paying off the debt right now from that, and so hopefully no more hospitalizations for this guy. God bless you guys. Ta ta for now.